Right, good evening everyone. Welcome to Hilly Stream for Sunday night, and we are with HRF1, of course, and it's short qualifying 50% race at Monza, Italy. We've obviously looking forward to this one. We've reached round 7 of the season already. It just seems mad how quickly it flies by. Um, where is my interviewee? Here he is. Right, so Steve is going to come in and do. He's changed his gamer tag. No wonder it took me a moment. Sorry, yeah, Steve is going to come in and do the interview with me. So, hey, Bowden, thank you very much, Checo, and welcome. 8 months. Thank you very much, Checo. You're a legend. So, where is he? There he is. Here he comes. He's been swatting up on this week's news, apparently, for the quiz. So, um, we'll see how he gets on. So, hello, Steve. Hello. Um, I know I don't need to tell you, but I've got to do it anyway. Just make sure you tick the box to include your audio first, buddy. Oh no, it won't be, will it? 'Cause I got to do it on my end. Oh, now I've made myself look stupid, haven't I? There you go. I've just done it now. So it should appear for you now. Steve. Steve. Right. Technical difficulties, everybody. Steve's disappeared. Well, he's not actually disappeared. He's there, but I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna. Oh, right. When I pressed that button, it didn't work very well, did it? I'm just going to remove Steve and then invite him back in. It's every time. You never, it's only because I'm trying to do an interview with him. If we just play the game together, it worked fine. So, oh, Bro's just messaged me. Um,
Hello.
right, hello. There we go.
Hello.
Sorry,
There we
you.
go. I've changed my headset over.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. It just I couldn't hear you whatsoever. So, um, okay. Yeah. So, have you ticked your box this time?
Yep. Box is all
Excellent.
ticked.
Perfect. So, right. Well, first of all, as I always start with, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Well,
Looking
could be
forward.
better, but
Yeah, looking forward to a bit of Monza.
yes, yeah. Hopefully it stays dry. Um, but if not, then a good few places could be made up where people haven't practiced with the rain. But yeah, should be a good race.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be. It has become a little bit notorious, Monza, in recent games, particularly last year, I have to say. Have turned into a bit of a wreck fest. So we hope it doesn't happen tonight. I think a lot of it is because people have to run such low wings to be sort of, to be competitive around here. And so when you go through a Scari in particular, but Parabolica as well, the back end likes to go because the wings are too low. But hopefully we don't see too much of that tonight. But,
Well, yeah, hopefully, and then with the lower wings as well, braking distance is a a lot further back than what people expect. So where they're
yeah,
braking late for the corner, the aero's not there to stop that car from going any further.
yeah. I mean, this game so far is definitely a case of you need to run higher wings on this game than you did last year's, without a doubt. But the thing is, it's it just goes against everything you know about Monza, doesn't it? To run anything higher, you
Yes,
need to run it as
yeah.
low as possible. I don't know why people are ready enough already. 3 minutes early yet, so uh, let me just right. We need to get on with your quiz, so let's go to it. Right. Okay. So the first question is always a slightly easier question. Um, Here we go. What is the capital city? Switty? You're gonna like that.
Switchy.
Capital city of Switzerland.
Oh, I have no clue.
Do I have a guess?
Geneva, is it?
No. It's a good guess though, but it's Bern.
Oh, right.
Bern. Bern. Okay, I'm going to sort of motor through these a little bit. Obviously, take your time if you want to, but I want you to get into quality. They haven't thought that through ready and up early there. Okay, question number two is a film question. So, which 1978 movie made Jamie Lee Curtis famous?
That's 20 years before I was born.
If it helps, I'll add a little bit to the end of the question. The franchise for this movie has just finished all these years later, which she starred in as well.
Oh, um, it's the one with Mike Myers. Is it
Yeah?
Halloween?
Yes! Well done. 1 point. I won't even give you half. I won't even like reduce it to half a point for giving you the extra information. All right, so you can have the 1 point for that one.
Thank you.
Uh, the third question is multiple choice, as Quali appears on our screen and is wet, by the way. Um, Number three: which country in history? Sorry, no, hang on. Let me start that again. Which country has won the most battles in military history? Is it A. England, B. Italy, C. France, or D. Germany?
I'll go um, Great Britain.
Britain, or in this case England. No, it's not. No, it's believe it or not, despite their reputation in the last sort of 100 or so years
France.
of giving up of surrendering, it is France. Yeah, by quite some way as well,
Yeah.
actually. Um, we move on to number four, which is always a computer game question. So,
Okay.
what is the name of the company responsible for the experimental project in Assassin's Creed? Have you played Assassin's Creed?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can picture the logo. It starts with an A. I swear.
Yeah, it does.
Oh no. Oh. um. Oh, what's it called? It's like Abenos or something. I'm gonna go Abenos. Random word.
I'm going to give you half a point for having the AB at the start, but it's Abstergo.
Yeah, that's it.
Abstergo.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
And number five is, of course, the news this week, which I believe you've
Yeah.
looked at, so or you said you were going to
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, I did.
But I don't know if that's going to help you with this or not. We shall see. Right, okay. This week,
Yeah.
the Barbie movie reached $1 billion at the box office,
Yeah.
making her the first woman in history to hit $1 billion as a solo director who has directed the movie.
Greta Gerwig.
Yes. Yeah, I love the fact that your Barbie knowledge is better than your computer game knowledge. That is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. my thing now out window.
Excellent. Well done, mate. You actually did quite well. You did 2.5 points. So it won't put you
Okay.
to the top of the leaderboard, but it puts you in a very respectable position now. Just bear with me 1 sec. I'm on HRF1, so I will just quickly go to comms. And so 2.5 points will actually put you joint second with Craig and Lycorius.
Ooh,
So
that will be
you,
the highest that I'll ever finish in
that's pretty
HRF1, I
good.
feel.
So what's your what would be a good result for you tonight?
Oh, anywhere finishing, no damage. Um, didn't have the run of the race last weekend.
Yeah,
So just I think top 11 would be quite nice, but I know I'm going to be around the 15th mark. So
yeah. Okay, no
Um,
worries. Um, I will let you get in because it's, we've used almost 4 minutes of your quality session. There's still plenty of time to do free runs if you need them.
that's right.
But yeah, it's as I say, it is wet. So good luck, mate.
Thank you. It's
Be
also
lovely
a
to be
wet start
talking
to the
to you at
race
the
as
end if you
well.
can, but just get yourself round and see what happens.
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's a wet start to the race as well,
Oh, lovely.
to let you know
Okay,
when it dries up.
excellent. That's exciting. Thank you very much.
No worries. All right. Have a good come.
See you later, mate. And you have a good race. Bye. Um, okay. Hello, Chips. Hello, Craig. Hello, Agnot. Welcome to all of you. So, Alien Agnot. So I guess that was a question about the movie for Jamie Lee Curtis. But it's the wrong actress. It's Sigourney Weaver in Alien. So that's a good guess, though. So, how are we going so far? Lycorius 28-3, 28-9 for Gaza, Ronaldo 29-8, and Corey 29-9. Apologies, we ran a little bit into the quali with the quiz there, but in my defence, they read it up early, so it's their own faults. That was the only question you heard. Fair enough. So, any predictions you want to take, guys? A guess at the pole sitter. Not so easy when it's raining because it mixes it up a little bit. Chip's 30.3 there, Whoopi 30.1. Here's Chip Van just coming out of a Scary. Okay, 19 for the grid at the moment. I am told that Gunnar is joining during qualifying. But for those of you that follow HRF1 a bit, you know that Gunnar is top of the pile at the moment on the standings, but um, unfortunately he's had a bit of an accident. He's really hurt his thumb, possibly broken. So, which as a pad player, which he is a bit of a nightmare, to be fair. So he's been practicing, and he's going to try and switch his steering around so that his steering is on the right analog. That's a bit silly. What's going on there? So yeah, he's going to try and use the right analog for steering. There is it's quite early on actually, so let's go to Chardinho. No, he's into the pits. Gaz has gone fast, it's 27.8. So, should find, usually in these conditions, you generally tend to find that they sort of just gradually improve as they go. And the time just gradually comes down and down and down. Bowden nose goes fast, it's 27.7. Admits himself he likes these sort of conditions. Clements on his way down to Parabolica. I know they've changed the name of Parabolica, but it will forever be Parabolica to me, so that's what I'm going to call it. And heads to the line, 28.6 on his first attempt. Did put in P6, but drops to P7 as Valungas crosses the line on a 28.6 as well. Only 5 thousandths separating those two. Bartas is out there. Where is Bartas? He's just coming around turn 3. And up to the second chicane, which is turns 4 and 5. Certainly in a dry, you've really got to commit to that chicane to get the best out of it. There's a lot of lap time in there if you can really nail it. But you're just as likely to bounce across into gravel as you are to actually nail it. So, but obviously a lot more careful in these conditions. You can't really do that. It's through the 2 Lesmos corners. That's it to the end of sector 2. Also, a bit of a mistake there, but I'm sure he'd still like to get a lap on the board. Okay, Agnot, so you're rooting for Checo because he's a friend in real life. That's nice to hear. Known Checo a little while now. Always enjoy watching him race. Good driver. Usually in that midfield sort of bunch somewhere, so he usually sees a lot of action. Bottas crossed the line, P13, 131.3. Here is Checo actually. Not so just coming through a Scary. Very, very tricky in the dry, even more tricky in the wet, of course. So it's very tricky because you're forced into running low wings around here because, well, it's not called the Temple of Speed for no reason here at Monza, so forced into running low wings to reduce the aerodynamics and make your car faster in a straight line. As Checo crossed the line, goes P13 with a 29.5 on that attempt. Who else we got here? Boulon still yet to set a lap. Has invalidated, but that's just his out lap in a way. Craig on a lap here. Steve. Oh no, he's earlier in the lap, so let's go to Craig and we'll go down to Steve after. You got him into F1, excellent. Well, I knew him from a different league, Agnot, and then got him into HRF1. Well, he asked me because he knew I knew some leagues, and he asked me, so I got him into HRF1. So, Craig into Parabolica. Yeah, you got to throw the car in there a little bit. You can't just sort of all around there. You've got to really aggressively throw the car in and attack the corner. Craig goes into P4 with a nice lap, 27.7. Actually misses out on Whoopi by 1,000th of a second. Let's go down to Steve, who's also heading up to Parabolica. And Chris goes fastest, 27.3. He's a man in form recently. And Steve, 28.7, goes P11. Funnily, after we mentioned top 11 would be a fantastic result for him, he goes P11 on his first completed run. Here is Boulange. He's been certainly showing his outstanding pace recently. I haven't seen him in the wet yet, so he had a tough start to this session, or he gets a little out of shape. That's going to affect his lap time, of course. But still goes 27.3 and into P2. He splits Chris and Bowden, and you've got to feel without that little moment in Parabolica, he probably would have gone fastest. Now Whoopi has stuck a set of softs on, so we are drying up clearly. But is it going to get dry enough? We can see the racing line appearing. I think it's going to be pretty tight. Only 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining for the track to get dry enough for slicks. I actually raced last night in a 100% league where we were at Hungary, and it started raining, and the last 16 laps of the race were wet, but not wet enough for intermediates. We were still on slick tyres, and it was one of the best experiences I've had on the game of racing. It really was. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it because I won, but you know, I had to get that in there somewhere tonight. Sorry about that. A bit self-promotion. Bowden 26.8 takes a lot of time off now. The times are starting to improve that much. That means the track is starting to dry. I mean, it could mean that Brandon's just done an outstanding lap. Sorry, Bowden, I don't mean to suggest you can only do that if it's drying, but I think it clearly is drying though. You can actually see. Did you see that? Boreas on his way to the line. Has he found an improvement? Does. Improves by 9/10, goes into P2. That's Ferrari 1-2 as it stands. But usually in these conditions, it can really go down to the wire. It can quite often be the last man across the line who takes the pole position. It's reasonably fast, Dagnart. It's not in like the really fast category, but it's there's some guys at the top that are pretty damn fast. Lost a couple of fast ones recently, actually, but yeah. But this is more a group of drivers that get together. They want good races, you know, and have fun together. They're not too worried about who's winning and that. Just as long as the races are good and fun. This is all I want as both a driver and a commentator, quite honestly. Longe then moves out the Scary quite nicely. Can he nail Parabolica this time? He is on a lap. He's definitely on a lap because his energy switched on. Here he comes. Looking at the timing now, it's going to be close to Bowden. In fact, I think he's going to beat Bowden. Yeah, 26.2. This track is drying out continuously. Whoopi is going to have to make a decision right at the last moment. He'll make it as late as he possibly can. The pit lane looks like it's dry, but the track itself doesn't. Problem is, until one of them goes out there, we don't really know. This is Bartas, who's jumps up to P9, by the way. It's, right, if that was Boulange, yeah, it's be in trouble for that. I'd not be cutting the corners like that. Boulange, young man, you seem to find a new way to break the rules of the league every single week. What is going on? It's clearly stated in the rules you cannot cut the corners in qualifying like that. So, trying to find a driver who's actually on a hot lap. Looks like Lycorius was, but it's maybe had a little moment at the second Lesmos and decided not to. Right then. Right, right, so Bowden is on an outlap on the softs. So is Clements. So is Chaldinho. Checo has switched his tyres to the softs, but is still in the pit. He needs to be out on track. He's left it too late. Oh no, he is at turn 1. Okay, just the graphic was taking a while to catch up with it. So, in a way, here is Chris as he heads down to Parabolica. Coming on. Steve said slips are tempting. What did he do? Stayed on the inters though. Will it be the right decision as Chris crosses the line, goes 26.3 and into P2? Chris very early on. Corey also very early on in his lap, whereas Steve is half a second up through sector 1. Through the Lesmos corners. I must admit, I reckon it's going to be tight between the slicks and the inters. Yeah. We'll find out. Right, Chaldinho is on a lap on this slick. Sorry to leave that lap, but you want to see a slick driver. It's definitely not flat out, is it? It's definitely not tooth to nail. And it's slippery. It's slippery. I don't know if this is going to work. That's going to invalidate Chaldinho, and that means that Chaldinho will not get a lap on the board in qualifying, and he will start from P18. Also, we lost Hunter at the start of the session. I've got absolutely no idea why, unless he had a quali ban or something. I don't know. Maybe he did. Or, you know, unless he crashed. I don't know. That's a Ferrari round facing the wrong way. Now I can't find the Ferraris. It's Lycorius. Right, let's go to Bowden then, who is 8 tenths down in sector 1. Chris goes fastest on the inters, 25.8. Can't find anyone else. Lycorius was the one who was spun. Steve managed to cross the line for another go. Who else we got? Gaz is going through the score. He's a second up in sector 2. Now that would put him... Well, that puts him on par with Boulange. Oh no, sorry. puts him just below Boulogne, between Boulogne and Bowden. It looks like the track did not dry enough to use the slick tyres. As it crosses the line, 26.3 puts him P3, just behind Boulogne. Whoopi into P4. Steve not improving. Longis was really close to his PB, but wasn't enough. Kemmons has invalidated Checo. Checo has improved his PB on the slicks, so only losing to P16 unfortunately, but the only ones who actually improve on the slick tyres was Checo. But as I said, he only improves to P16, so it turns out the intermediates were the way to go. But as Bowden says there in the chat, it was on the crossover. That was tough. That was tough. So we have Chris on pole position. Well done, Chris. I don't know if that's a first pole position. It might be. You know, it's the first I've seen him get. So well done, Chris. Congratulations on that one. Boulogne P2, Gaza in 3, Whoopi 4, Bowden 5, Chips in 6, Corey 7, Lycorius 8, Monsters and Steve then round out the top 10. So Steve's where he, well, a little bit above where he expected to be. So well done, Steve. Craig, Chip Van Bartas for Longis, Kemmons in 15, Checo 16, Ronaldo 17, Chaldinho, and then Hunter at the back. So we are expecting Gunnar in during qualifying. I didn't see his name come up. Whether I just missed it or not, I don't know. There's always the possibility I just might not have seen it appear on the screen, but then he should have taken the car, so not convinced. The go time is 8:23. So any drivers listening, remember, do not ready up. The admins will do that. If you are found to have done it, you will be penalised. So please don't. For the meantime, guys, thank you to those of you who have watched along so far. I hope you enjoyed qualifying. I'm just going to grab myself a quick drink before the race starts. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes and I'll see you then. Okay, guys, back with you. So we will be heading into this 50% race at Monza. So Monza used to be one of the absolute gems of a season on the calendar, really, for for league racing, but fortunately, it's just certainly last game, and I think the game before and this one, it just tends to turn into a bit of a wreckfest. Now, the reason for that, I believe, is because you're forced into running. Well, I said it during the interview, but if you didn't hear, I think people are forced into using such low wings around here because of the straight line speed requirement that it's just it causes incidents. It causes people to miss their braking because you need to brake earlier. It also causes people to or it causes the rear wing to step out on people, certainly through Ascari, Parabolica, and it can make you a little bit unstable on the exits of the chicane as well. So the chicanes, so just causes incidents basically. So I don't know if Gunner's joined. Gunnar said he's unable to join, been trying since 8:10. But nobody else has said anything after. I don't know if he joined while I was away making a coffee there. Who's my money on for tonight? Chris has been in brilliant form recently, Craig. And I think I wouldn't be shocked to see him win a first race, but I think Boulogne on outright pace will be hard to beat. And no, Gunnar hasn't made it, as we set off on the formation lap. Obviously, formation lap back on now. It is fixed to an extent. It does occasionally still cause problems, but hopefully it won't for us tonight. Yeah, I think Boulogne outright pace. The fact that Whoopi's in the top four, and Bowden actually in fifth, they've both got a chance. There's no doubt about that. Don't discount Gaza. He's won his fair share of races in the past. I can tell you that. He's not won. I don't think he's won an HRF1 yet, and it looks to me like he's struggling a bit more on 23. He was very, very good on 22 and 21, and so he won his fair share of races on those games. So he's not a stranger to a win, and he is certainly. He'll be there if something happens. If Launch makes a mistake, Gaza will be on him. So it's going to be interesting. It's not the weather we expected. Steve said it was showing that it was going to be a wet start to this race, but that's not the case. So let's have a quick look then. So you got Chris is starting on the softs, so he's gonna look to try and get off the line well, as is Gaza. So Boulogne could well come under an attack from Gaza straight away. Whoopi's opting to play the longer game and go with hards first. Maybe he's decided to do that to get them out of the way, to be honest. Chips on the softs are looking to make up some cases maybe. That's a great qualifying from Chips, by the way, P6. And Corey, P7 on the mediums. So mediums tends to be a bit more traditional because you can... Ooh, a couple of drivers getting disqualified there. Chipvan and Bartas have had a little come together and that's disqualified them. Yeah, so yeah, mediums sort of make sense to start on. It's a good tire to get off the line. It means you can split your strategy, so obviously you could do medium hard, you could go long on the mediums and switch to softs later on. Medium hard, hard to medium is the fastest strategy. There's no doubt about that. Don't let anybody tell you it's any different. The game does like to tell people to use the soft medium strategy, but if you actually look at the line on the strategy, you'll notice that the soft lap time will go sky high. But yeah, anyway, in a shorter answer to your question, Craig, I think my money would be on Boulogne, but we shall see. Anyway, here we go. I'm not going to get a great angle by the looks of it, but off we go. Chris does get off the line very nicely. Boulange follows, but he is going to come under attack from Gaza, who moves into P2 before we reach turn 1, but Boulange will have the inside, so they're going to battle, I think. Boulange maybe a bit deep, and then they have a touch. Gaza just didn't have any room there, so he couldn't avoid the contact. There's nothing he could do. Just, I'm glad to say that no damage caused to Gaza. I think Boulange was just a bit late on his brakes. He went a bit deep into turn 1. So, but looking down the order, everybody has gotten through turn 1 fine, which is good news for the start of this race. Whoopi is in P4 where he started, Bowden P5. So starting on the hards didn't lose Whoopi any places. Certainly a possibility it's something that could have happened. Chip stays safe. First gainer is Lycorius, who was up a place, but Corey's coming back at him. And what was technically the outside leading up to Ascari, Corey retakes that spot, so he's back into P7. Up 5 places, Kemmons, who's a little bit out of position further down there, started P15. His pace, and Chaldinho for that matter, he's also up 4 places. Hunter is up 1. But let's go to the front. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Ronaldo has had a little moment coming out of Ascari. I doubt very much that will be the only time I'll say that tonight. I don't mean about Ronaldo, I mean saying that somebody's had a moment out of Ascari, because it is tough. Look at the battling into turn 1. It's so difficult to fit 2 cars through there, in all fairness to these guys. It's bound to have a little bit of contact. Not much you could do about that. So, Boulange, though, takes the lead of the race. Chris actually falls down behind Gaza, who's chasing Boulange. The view it gives me is horrible. Oh, who's that? Somebody's gone flying off. That's Chips. Has missed the corner. He rejoins just in front of Corey, so he actually gets back on track in the same position he left it, which is quite impressive actually, to recover it that quickly. And it was a safe recovery from what I saw, so I think he's okay. The top 5 in particular at the moment are so tight. So I drove this track not long ago. It was a really difficult race. It's so hard not to use your energy around there, but you've got to be careful with it. Oh no, Steve is out! Steve is out, and it's on Ascari. And it's... I can't see him. I think he's cut... Oh, there he is. So yeah, it's on the far side, the right side. It's only a virtual safety car. The car was off track. So the game has given a virtual safety car. I have to say that the game was very good last night on a comms. Was it last night? Sorry, not last night. Friday night on a comms I did for PRF1 around Jeddah. Despite it being Jeddah, not everything was a full safety car, for instance, and that was good to see. Little signs that the game might be sorting out the annoying safety car issues. But really unfortunate to lose Steve. As he says in the chat, bloody Ascari. So, let's see if I can invite him in. I might want to join. Steve, if you're listening to comms, did you want to join me? So, good start to this race so far. See the position changes there. Let's just get that back to tyres then. And you can probably expect to see a few 3-second penalties before the end of this. DRS is enabled. We go racing again. I would think that Gaza should have a run on Boulange down into turn 1. Oh no, it's alright, not for an interview, so I was wondering if you wanted to join us co-com sort of thing, but no, don't worry about it if you get it, because you're doing, yeah, as you said, you're doing tomorrow night. So, Gaza is going to get well, not quite side by side, and I think rightly decides not to make a move there. Maybe looks to try and get a sort of switchback attempt on Boulange. Now, if there are no safety cars, these Sotar guys should be pitting around about lap 10, I'd imagine. and going to the hard tyres unless anybody is intending to two-stop. I'm not sure whether that's much of a possibility here at Monza. Two-stop's a genuine, viable strategy choice at a lot of tracks this season. Monza, it's not the fastest pit stop in the world. It's not anywhere near the slowest either, so it's not completely out of the realms of possibility. As Bowden drops Corey, I think Bowden might have made a little mistake coming out of Les 2. And Corey's taking advantage of that. Further down, Valungas gets past Chip Van. That's a medium against the hard driver. In terms of tyres, the two Ferraris though, really tight. So Corey is going to chance something against his teammate, or will he just sitting behind? So they'll both have the DRS. Multiple fastest laps just popping up on the screen. It's about 6 different people who've had a fastest lap in this race there. It's Bowden. Oh, Corey. Really with his wits about him there. I don't think he'd have been massively impressed by the move from Bowden. I think that was a little bit of a lunge. But Corey really had his wits about him not to turn in and risk damage there. So let's go back to the front then. As battle resumes, or continues, should I say, and Gaza. Quite honestly, Gaza and Chris will be reasonably content just to sit in the, oh, we've got a retirement, Monsters is out. And that is a full safety car. In will come the soft starters. And it's at Lesmos 2. It's another one, it's easy. It's so easy. You touch the curb on the left and put a little bit too much throttle down while touching the curb, or a little too much steering input, and it just lobs you across the track into the wall. So easy to do, but it is another thing, you see, about running low wings. It's definitely sensitive of that. As suggested, in come all the soft starters. In comes Bowden from the mediums as well. That's interesting. But these guys all switching to hard tyres. It makes sense. They're going to look to go to the end of the race. Not everybody actually. Chips has gone to mediums, interestingly. It's a bit optimistic. It's not a massive difference between medium and hards on F123, so may be able to get to the end, but will probably be pretty slow by the end of the race. But then so will the hard tyre drivers, I suspect. But Gaza exits only in P8. That is not bad at all. And we'll have the nicer tyre and everybody ahead of him, including the medium drivers. There's no way those mediums are better than a fresh set of hards at this point. So now the safety car, it won't come in this lap. It's always got to complete a full lap, so it's going to stay out for lap 7 and should come in the end of lap 7. I can't see any reason anybody wouldn't be caught up by that point. So we would resume lap 8. That means 20 laps remaining, which is certainly within the hard tyre sort of area of what that tyre can do. So this is why they started on the softs. It gives them a chance to make up positions at the start, but they cover off that early safety car. They switch to the hards. The strategy now will be to go to the end of the race if no more safety cars. Obviously, if there was to be another safety car and they've done a reasonable amount of laps on the hards, they'll be in to switch to the mediums. There's Boulange, of course, or Corey, or Bartas for that matter. Obviously, they can't switch to mediums on their next stop, because if it's the only stop, they have to use a different compound, so they would have to use the hards or the softs. It's an interesting race so far. If you were hoping for no safety cars here tonight at Monza, let's be honest about this, guys. As I said before, it's a bit of a wreck fest these days, Monza, so The actual driving, in my opinion, has been good so far. There's been a couple of little sort of dives into turn one, in all fairness, but other than that, driving's looks pretty good from what we've seen. It's a couple of individual errors, one at Ascari from Steve, which caused a virtual safety car, and one at Lesmos 2 by Monsters, just caused this full safety car. So just the way it goes. Bartas said sorry to Chitvan in the Discord. I'm not too sure what that's for. Chitvan's doing alright, he's in P5, so I don't know what that's for. I guess they must have had a little touch somewhere. So can't have been anything too big, otherwise they won't be running P5 and P7. As Bowden and Kement switch places there. No swapping of positions under safety car, and the drivers know full well you are not allowed to drive alongside the car ahead of you under a safety car, so if they do that they will be penalised after the race. This commentator is also a steward, and I will pull things into the stewarding room as we wait for the race leader to make his move, which he has done, I believe. Yeah, so Boulange goes. Okay, that is extreme. That is way too excessive on the weaving from Boulange. You can move to the inside once. You can move back to the racing line if it's safe to do so, but in order to take the corner. But he moved a good... Well, he must have moved about 4 times there, so I'm afraid I would imagine Whoopi will put that one in. And he knows that, Boulange. He knows that, so I don't know why, what he's thinking to do it. So, Hunter gets past Chifan. What a race Hunter's having. That's a P5 from 19th on the grid. So Valungus and Checo. This is Checo. Valungus on the outside of him there. Checo lets off and lets him through as the car behind us, Ronaldo's had a little incident. Again, it's Lesmos 2, see? It's so many tricky corners. Oh no, what's happened to Gaza? Oh, no, it's not Gaza. My apologies, it's not Gaza, it's Bowden. And it's Ascari. So the lap we resumed racing, there was an incident, somebody has an issue at Lesmos 2, another at Ascari, and then another at Parabolica. As Bartas finds the inside wall, is he straight to the pits? No, he's continuing on, so somehow he's not ended up with damage there. Clements is getting the move done on Gaza to the inside for turn 1. And he's got a good proportion ahead, and Gaza concedes the position there. And Corey getting ahead of Whoopi for P2. At the moment, the guys that are on they're starting the tyres still. It looks like the mediums are still working pretty well. As Corey makes up the place on Whoopi, but it's going to be so dependent on what the gap is when those guys are to pit. As we see an Aston Martin go very wide, that's Chip Van. He rejoins the track. He's just in front of Kemments, but Kemments will surely have a run. Indeed he does. As the inside, well, what would be the inside of Ascari, and gets the move done. Not a lot Chip Van could do about that. He's obviously got a slow speed up the straight because he's been off track, but also going into the car, his tyres would be so hot having gone across gravel. So, see, all those guys that picked to hard tyres under the safety car will all be saying to themselves, please don't, not a safety car, just don't cause another safety car, everyone please don't do that. So Ronaldo at the back there has had to pit, presumably for a front wing. Clements. Oh, I'm just going to move us down, actually. So Gaza now in P9, so he's actually fallen back a little bit. Perhaps he was caught up with Bowden, because I thought it looked to me like he was going to drop the places, and then when I moved up, it was Bowden dropping down, but I wonder if Gaza maybe did, unless he's just having a difficult time on the hards at the start of this stint, as he's on the inside of Hunter. It's not... Oh, dear, you two. Gaza's gotten caught out there. Gaza seemed to back out of it and then not actually break for the corner, or do something like that. Either that or Hunter just maybe broke a bit early. I don't know which way round it was, to be quite honest with you. I expect the stewards to get a look at that. And that is Valungis getting past Gaza. Valungis went to the mediums on the pit stop, so probably expecting a safety car, or as Gaza moves to the pits. So obviously, well, he wouldn't be going to the pits unless he had damage, so Hunter also makes his way to the pits. It looks like they both picked up damage in the instant. Bartash follows as well, so not ideal for them. No, Hunter's not had a wing change though. I think it's a genuine pit stop actually. In a way, Boulange is pulling out at the front. Corey doing his best to follow him, but he has picked up a penalty, Corey. He driving very nicely in P3. He's on the back of Corey. In fact, he will get a chance sometime soon. Just uses this DRS zone here just to catch up to the back of Corey. So, in his mind, the move, the overtake has already started, but he's just dropped back a bit out of Ascari, so he's already thinking about the move coming out of Lesmos. He would have been thinking, right, I'm just going to use this DRS zone, get onto the back, go onto his gearbox, and then I'll make the move on the main straight before he continues on another lap. So, we are certainly in a territory where medium tyre starters would be pitting to hards, so here comes Whoopi then. He's got the inside for turn 1. Does he get it stopped in time? He does. Makes the corner nicely and has a nice lead. So Reed takes P2. And there's just little signs then that maybe the guys that started on the mediums are finding those tyres are dropping off a bit now. As Corey loses out to Kemmons. Said he was out of position where he was started. Always expect Kemmons to be up somewhere towards the front in pretty much whatever league he's racing in, so actually had a really good battle with Kemmons. When was it? Thursday, I think it was. We raced together. Thursday? Can't have been as far back as last Monday, I'm sure it's since then. I think I drove together with him on Thursday. Battle, yeah, Silverstone, wasn't it? So yeah, it was. In a way. Chaldinho picks up a pen. And Hunter... Oh, no. Right, okay. The pit stop we saw Hunter take, unfortunately, it was for a new wing, but it didn't repair his wing. He's had to pit a second time. And that's going to be highly frustrating for him as Kemmons gets out of shape. Actually looked behind because I thought, oh, has he been hit by someone? Oh, he might have been actually, like Orios was taken to the sort of escape road. So maybe there was a contact that made him go a little bit wobbly. Either that or he was just power drifting around the corner. Which then on the back of Kemmons. And Boulange still pulling the gap out a little bit to Whoopi. It's now out to just over 3 seconds. You would feel if all stays as is when Boulange pits. Oh, we've got the yellow flag. I can't see where. It's out of Lesmos 2. It's an Alfa Romeo. It is. It's Valungis who's had a moment coming out of Lesmos 2. As Chris goes past him to take P11. What's happened to Chris then? How's he dropped down? Oh, so he's... Sorry, yeah, I'd missed that. So Chris pitted. No, I'm lost. I don't know when. I don't know what happened. Right, Whoopi is in. Whoopi is in. And he will be looking for an undercut effect on Boulange. It may be over 3 seconds the gap, but the undercut is very powerful on F123. So Boulange will pretty much have to react this lap or be susceptible to the undercut. Although I suspect, to be honest with you, that Boulange's strategy may be best served trying to push those mediums out to switch to softs later in the race. Gives him the best chance at being able to get back through the field, if that's what he needs to do, as we get a yellow flag at Parabolica. That's a Haas. It's pretty much just came out and disappeared again, so I'm not quite sure what that is, what that was for. Let's go on board here. Lycorius is catching Chip Van at right knots, but back to set the move there, but he set it up nicely, ready for the pit straight. And we are now at the point where hard starters may decide to pit. They're running out and stop. So, be in the range of the next few laps really, unless they're going to softs, which means they're probably more like lap 19. As Corey is into the pits to come off of the mediums. Surely this is a switch to hards rather than softs. Yeah, hard tyres ready to go on the car. And he had a 5-second penalty then, so he's serving a penalty. I just assumed that was a 3-second because I couldn't think what he had got a 5-second for, but there you go. Well, at least that's gotten rid of the penalty. And we can go now to Craig, who's looking to see if there's anything he can do about this Ferrari in front of him. So Corius, of course, still on his starting tyres. So Craig's in a pretty decent position here. He's P7. He's got 3 drivers up the road from him that are still on their starting tyres, so they do need to pit at some stage. Now, surely you would think that all 3 of them will be best served by prolonging this stint to go to the soft tyre. Always the risk it might mean you come out a position or 2 lower, but the just raw pace of the soft tyre later in the race will be its own reward. So here comes Craig then. Lycorius just goes back to the racing line. Allows Craig to have the inside. Probably wasn't expecting to still be that sort of level, Lycorius there. So, but as often happens, the car on the outside of the exit gets the better exit, better traction. It does have the younger tyres, of course, which will help. So the field's just sort of, well, it's just the gaps are just growing a bit at the moment. We've got Chardinho here, who's getting very close to Chips. It just lags about a bit. He's on the outside. And he should have the DRS still. There's no silly business going on there about trying to break for it. Tried to get the overtake to Parabolica, didn't quite get it. And that's why Chips didn't really care, because he was escaping to the pits in a way. So Chips, who didn't start on those mediums, that's the second pit stop for him. Sorry, I've just gotten completely... Who on earth was that? Just going slow there. Okay, I think that might have been Ronaldo. I'm not entirely sure, guys. I think that might have been Ronaldo that was still going slowly, just letting drivers through. So yeah, he's made another stop, Ronaldo. So yeah, he'd come out the pits, Ronaldo, and was lapped. So I see what's happening now. This is Whoopi, who out of the drivers that have only just stopped is the highest in P8, and he's ultimately was looking to get an undercut on Boulange, but he's also got a sort of pedal to the metal and try and get past these guys that pitted earlier in the race. So, Boulange pit. Is it too early? Probably still is. As we mentioned earlier on, he's probably best served by switching to the soft tyre when he makes a stop. Which means he probably needs to get to, I would imagine, doesn't really want to be pitting before lap 19. Maybe even lap 20. He may even decide to go on, as long as the tyre's not going to blow up, he may even decide to go on just to hope for a safety car, but a safety car at this point would see everybody in, except those that have just pitted, i.e. Chips. Probably Corey. Well, I don't know, to be fair, because he's on hard, so he may decide. At the moment, the strategy call to come in under that safety car is working, and the fantastic races that we've been seeing in HRF1 all season, to be honest with you, are continuing. One VSC, one safety car. If I just touch wood a second, if it stays like that for Monza, what an achievement that would be. I know there's been some other little incidents, and hopefully there's no silly business in the Discord after, but I know there's been some other little incidents and stuff. Nothing that can't be dealt with by stewards quite comfortably. Certainly nothing malicious, is it? So, Clements has just snuck into the 1 second of Boulange. It really looks like he's struggling now, and those tyres have gone. They've absolutely gone, so I think it'll be this lap. I think he's just going to have to bite the bullet at the end of this lap. He goes to the soft tyre and just see what he can do. But those guys that decided to pit under the safety car, he took the gamble of staying out. And there was no way at that point to know what was going to be the correct thing to do. I would argue, really, that Boulange probably made the right call, because so it's not working out like that. But the reason I say that, of course, is because being Monza, we generally expect you probably expect 3 safety cars around here, just as a standard. So, to be fair, with the information he had at the time, it was probably the right call to stay out. I'm just going to move down to Chris, who's... Oh, actually, no, he's just lost out to Whoopi, my apologies. But Boulange is in then, he has to make the pit. He has to make the stop, and surely we'll go to a set of softs. As Whoopi, annoyingly for him, Whoopi has picked up a penalty. There is Whoopi heading down the straight, and the gap between him and Boulange is not going to be that massive, is it? Boulange would have loved to have gotten at just ahead of Chips, who's also on the soft tyre, although pitted 3 laps earlier, so that will be a significant difference in lap time on soft tyres, 3 laps, so I would have probably made that stop a little early, to be honest. And we have yellow flags. Oh no, it's a Haas lining out the way. Chardinho racing with Clements now. Obviously, Chardinho has the penalty, but anybody who's been in or around HRF1 for some time knows Cialdino at the moment doesn't do too many races, but when he does, we know his pace. Everybody knows his pace. As Clements runs wide into Parabolica, and that's allowed Cialdino through. And it's early enough here, you feel, if we can get out of the 1 second, then Cialdino might be able to pull a gap. But that initial getting out the 1 second around a track for such heavy DRS, it's obviously very difficult indeed. So, see how he gets on. And let's just go to Boulogne. Has just gotten past Chips, so that's the other soft runner dispatched. And now things should be a little bit easier for him. He's gonna, his first victim, if we should call him that, will be Chris, who, despite the brilliant recent form that Chris has shown on 15-lap-old hards against 1-lap-old softs, it's not going to be, well, there's just nothing he can do, really, to be quite honest with you. It's just one of those scenarios where you just realise that he's not my battle today, so you don't want to lose time yourself. So, it's obviously he's got his own thing going on, because he's got a driver in Whoopi not that far up the road that's got 3 seconds of penalties, so that's the last thing Chris can do is lose time to Whoopi by fighting Boulogne in what would be a pretty... Oh, and Whoopi's round! Whoopi makes a mistake in Parabolica! What a mistake of a maker in Italy! Round he goes, and that drops him in the end to P11. Get going again. It also means that Gaz is within his penalty range for that position as well now. It's Whoopi. Bit of a lunge up the inside. Lycorius aware of it though and doesn't turn in, so almost allows that to happen. Lycorius will look to stay within that penalty range of Whoopi. And oh, what was that? Is that Boulogne getting out of shape? I think it was. No, it's not. Boulogne is teleporting about. His connection is struggling. Once I can confidently say it's not mine, so Boulogne now then up into P6. But he's just overtaken Chips. He'd already done that previously, so something did happen to Boulogne. It must have done. Which will make everybody ahead of him feel a little bit easier about it. Just an update on what's going on at front. Cialdino has broken out of the 1 second to Clements. Now, I'll ask you guys quickly for the chat, do you want to see the penalties or do you want to keep it as a surprise? First person to respond with an answer, I will do what you say. Looking for our best battle at the moment, and I think, in all honesty, there's not really any battles going on at the moment. Boulogne, you would think, would surely catch on to the back of Checo, but quite honestly, that is looking like it's probably going to be the maximum for Boulogne with the amount of laps left. So Checo for P5, and he may well be able to get Chitvan because of Chitvan's penalty. But I wouldn't expect it to... Well, I say that, he's nearly had the 3 second deficit to Checo in not even 1 lap. What a race Checo's having, by the way. Agnot, what a race he's having. P16 was it on the grid, up to 5th at the moment. And penalty free. Will certainly be in the hat for driver of the day, I'm sure. Boulogne sets the obvious fast slap of the race, really. I think you can may as well just give that to him right now. So, this is where Joe just needs to show a bit of patience, but Checo is a little bit wide out of turn 1. Revert his exit. Well, actually, out turn 2, sorry. Oh, but amazingly, Checo, he's got more energy, and that's allowed him to keep ahead. Can I just see? Yeah, I can. It's raining. So the game's going to throw something extra into Monza and give us a bit of rain at the end of the race. It's done the exact opposite to what Steve told us it was going to do in his interview. He said it was going to be raining at the start and dry up. It's done the complete opposite. It's been dry all the way through and it's just going to rain a bit at the end. I do not think we'll be seeing intermediates, guys. This is going to be the guys running in difficult conditions on slicks. If there's somebody that suits the most, it probably is Boulange, because his tires are the freshest. So he should be able to drive pretty well in these conditions. Hunter has switched to intermediates. I guess actually, to be fair, that sort of instant with Gaz has just killed Hunter's race. Well, actually, in all fairness, it wasn't so much the incident with Gaz, it was the fact that his pit crew didn't change the front wing when he pitted the first time round. So Chris is into the pits. Why is he in? Is he switching to inters? He is. I mean, it doesn't look wet enough. Volungis is in. It must be a lot wetter for the drivers out there than it looks on comms, because this track doesn't look anywhere near intermediate weather at the moment. Try and keep an eye on some of the gaps. Hunter's gap's just messed up a little bit because Volungis ahead of him is pitted. Chris to Gaza. Chris on the inters, Gaza on the slits. Chris is just dropping back so slowly. And in fact, no, he's just gained a load. So, unless Gaza made a mistake there. Okay, indications are that the intermediates are faster. Kemmons is in! I can't believe Kemmons is pitting. It's too late in the race. It's lap 26 or 27. Right, indications at the moment are that the intermediates are quicker, but they are not quick enough. There is a whole load of pits. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. I cannot believe these guys are pitting. It is hard, and to be fair, the rain is coming down a lot harder all of a sudden. But surely it's too late in the race. I feel Chardino's just been handed victory. Unless this track absolutely falls apart on us. I just don't see how it's the right call. I think DRS is still open, so I think points will get. Yeah, he's got DRS looks. DRS still active. Oh, anything Lycorius can do, he realises he's got a complete tire disadvantage. So there's the disabled. Okay, so DRS now disabled, and that tells everybody pretty much that intermediates now are the way to go. But it's too late. And I just cannot see. Chardino has been handed victory in Monza. This track could completely go off the rails altogether, but it's just too late in the race. So, Lycorius is pitting. He had a 14-second advantage over Chip Van. Longer than that, in fact. It was Corey who had the 14-second advantage over Chip Van. So, Lycorius had longer than that, and he's pitted. I'm flabbergasted is the only word I can use right now. Is Chardino is out of Ascari and heading for victory, heading down to Parabolica as Clements makes his way past Checo. Again, nothing that Checo can do. Bartas receives 5 seconds. Corner cutting slightly unusual. Cialdino's tiptoeing around Parabolica, but that's all he needs to do. Don't crash it before the line. Cialdino, whatever you do. Cialdino wins in Monza. He had it absolutely gifted to him, in my opinion. But Craig comes across P2. Well done, Craig. What a race. Clements is promoted to 3rd. Boulogne, for some reason, drove into the pit and is holding down the order. Checo P4. Chips. So Boulogne P5. Chips P6. Corey in 7. Whoopi will come across P8, but I think Chris is going to jump him. Yep, so Chris up to P8. Whoopi P9, Lycorius P10, Bowden 11, Chip Van, if he can make Parabolica, is going to lose out to Volungis actually, depending on penalties. So it's Lycorius 10, Bowden 11 for the two Ferraris, 10 and 11. Gaza jumps up to P12 due to penalties. Volungis 13, Chip Van 14, Bartas 15, and Hunter will come across P16. The game's just retired Whoopi for leaving too early. So there we have it. That is the end of the HRF1 race here. At Monza. So we'll get the top guys in for an interview. I don't think I can get Cialdino, unfortunately, because he's PlayStation. As he slips over going to the podium. She. I think she. Maybe. I don't know. I'm probably not allowed to say that, sorry. There we go. Cialdino wins. Craig P2, Clements P3. Let's get Craig and Clements in. I would love to get Cialdino in. I can only ask if one of these guys can. Who on earth do I give driver of the day to? It's a disaster. I literally, how am I supposed to award it? It's, look, Clements, Craig, outstanding. Look at Checo from 16th to 4th. The podium guys have got their podiums. Let's give Checo the driver of the day. Well, the comms driver of the day. The actual driver of the day will be voted on in the Discord. After. Hello, Craig. Just make sure you've included your audio.
Hello,
please,
sir.
buddy.
Yes, I have.
And I'll invite Clements again. So Cialdino's on PlayStation, so I can't invite him. It may just be us two then. I don't think I've ever spoken to Clements, so I don't think he's ever joined before, so I don't know if he will. Okay, I'll just switch you then, Craig. Fantastic result, mate. P2, what a result.
Thank you.
Before the race, you said in the chat, Hilly, who's your money on? And I didn't say you, but I feel a bit guilty for not saying you now. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know about your review, but I think Clements has thrown away victory. He
definitely did. Yeah. It was difficult but manageable.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Cialdino in a way had an advantage because he was closer to the end of the race than everybody else. So yeah. But even he was having to tiptoe around Parabolica at the end, I must admit. But it was very clear the weather had completely changed right at the end, but it was too late. So the guys who pitted, well, one or two might have made a couple of decisions up that were further down, but on the whole, they lost out. But in a way, mate, you're not here to talk about that. You're here to talk about your race. So take us through it from your POV.
Well, I've had throttle pedal issues. I've been using my clutch pedal as a throttle all race, so it seemed to work weirdly. But I messed up qualifying.
had a difficult qualifying. Just, I guess, strategy worked out in the end. But other than that,
Yeah.
couple of nice overtakes, which was good.
Yep. And how was the side by side racing for you with
That
the other
was
drivers? Was it all
it was
good?
really good. Everyone was really clean
Excellent.
today, so
Excellent. I have to say, through the field, it was generally brilliant. There was a few,
yeah,
there was a couple of little things
right,
here and there, but it
yeah,
was
yeah.
nothing massive to write home about or anything.
No,
So really pleased. HRF1 has just continued a brilliant start to the
oh, it's
season.
brilliant.
It
Yeah,
started the
yeah, it's
season
fantastic.
earlier than any other league. Whenever other leagues weren't willing to start yet, and they just got on with it. And it's probably been, if I'm honest, it's been the best racing of any of the leagues that I do commentary on
Well,
so far
that's
this
nice to
season.
hear.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah, fair play. Um, Other than that, so I'm not giving you driver of the day. I'm giving that to Checo
yeah, I don't blame you.
for the comms driver of the day because
Yeah,
it was so hard because you had a
uh,
fantastic race. Kevin's had a fantastic race. Chaldinho had a penalty, so I don't pick people with penalties in a way. So
no,
but I think. Yeah, I think I can't really say that Checo's is above yours or Kevin's performance, but as you two have got podiums, I'll give him the driver of the day.
that's
So,
absolutely fine, mate.
okay. Right, okay. I'm just going to have a quick look. Do you know where we are next week?
I believe it's Belgium next week.
Belgium. Spa.
Yeah,
Francorchamps. Might get a bit more rain there.
more than
On the
likely.
second part of the track, but not the first, it would be.
Yeah,
Um, in the Ardennes Forest. It's it's an interesting race, but
yeah,
a great
definitely.
track though. Great track.
Oh,
Is it?
I love
Do you
that track.
actually? You do.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah,
Excellent. Is it one of your best tracks, or?
it's one of my favourite tracks. When it says my best track, it's one of my favourites.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll see you on the podium again, perhaps with some other people to talk to as well. Um, but no, well done tonight, mate. Absolutely super
Thank you.
drive. You deserve the podium, 100%. Um, Not much else to say, really, mate. So
Yeah,
just
that's
really well
no
done.
worries.
Okay, guys. Well, that is HRF1 for Sunday. I will be back on Tuesday for WAOF1 at 8 o'clock. So please come and join me for that one. I'd love to tell you where we are, but I can't remember. I can never remember, so it's no good asking. Well, why does anybody ask me? I literally can never remember, Greg. It's literally, I get people ask me. They say, Hilly, what track are you doing tonight? And I'm literally, I give me 10 minutes to look. I haven't got a
Yeah,
clue. So yeah, I don't know what I'm waffling on about now. I'm just trying to finish the stream. Um, In a way, good night, God bless. I will see you on Tuesday. Don't forget that HRF1 are back tomorrow night on Steve's Twitch, so please join on that one, or just if you want a link to it or anything like that, just give me a message and I'll sort that out for you. But otherwise, good night, God bless, and have a good and safe week at work or whatever it is you're doing, and I'll see you soon.